Everything comes into the world with its mouth open. Eating is a primary function of life. When I was on undergrad work, a wise professor showed up one day and he said, "What is the ultimate purpose of the musculature and skeletal system of any animal?" You can answer the question in one sentence. He said, "The ultimate purpose of the musculature and skeletal system is for locomotion, for food gathering. He moves about in his own particular way to eat." He says, once you get there, if you don't have the proper mechanism to eat with, your ultimate purpose for existing is gone. We look at the sanctuaries of things that we visited, and they're just loaded with dental disease, oral pathology. And so the drive is to hopefully render, to put their mouth in working order so they can survive a little bit longer without any pain, without any disease.
Welcome to the session. Let me be the first to welcome you. It's such an honor to be here and to share the stage with these speakers. You just heard from Dr. Peter Emily. He is the founder of the Peter Emily International Veterinary Dental Foundation. Kind of briefly explain why oral health is such an important or key component to survival of the species, and also the epidemic of dental disease that plagues sanctuaries across the country. So with that in mind, let's take a wild look at dentistry. So my name is Charles Dyer. You heard the credentials, but that's not my story. Okay? My story really starts here. My hobby is herpetology, which is the study of reptiles. And as you can see, I really love snakes, and snakes tend to love me, and she's giving me a big hug. And there is where my story begins. Okay? My journey started possibly through dental school. But in dental school, I was introduced to Dr. Mark Peckham. He's a veterinarian and former Aggie. And in that moment of relationship, I volunteered at his clinic. I pestered him for 4 years in dental school, learning all things about reptiles. And it was really no surprise to get a phone call from Dr. Peckham about a tiger. Okay? Wanted some dental advice about a tiger. What was surprising is that he asked me to help, okay? This is Nero. Dr. Tristan and Dr. Peckham both oversee the veterinary dental care of the white tiger exhibit at the downtown aquarium in Houston. And Nero had a tooth problem, and that tooth was covered in calculus, and the filling kept on breaking down, and it needed work. So under the supervision of Dr. Peckham, I was able to clean that tooth and fill it. Has a nice filling, all nice and clean. Nero is happy and healthy today. But I did not want this to be a singular experience. This is my dream of wanting to be a veterinarian when I was young. And I did what we all would do in that situation, is I went to the internet to find out how I could do more. And what I found is the Peter Emily International Veterinary Dental Foundation. Okay? A nonprofit organization that specializes in advanced dental care for animals in need. So I saw this, and I was inspired and motivated to be a part of the foundation. And so I filled out an application and found myself at the Exotic Feline Rescue Center in Indiana on a very cold, snowy day. EFRC is home to over 200 rescued big cats. They share very similar, very sad stories. 2 adult tigers lived while not performing their entire life in this transport cage. Found abused and neglected and malnourished, they were surrendered to EFRC. We know as dentists that a poor diet, a poor environment, and poor health are all risk factors for dental disease and developing poor oral habits. And in big cats, what you find is that they don't like being confined, and they will chew the bars of their enclosure. And it leads to these large notches on their incisors, which are prone to fracture and dental decay, complete breakage and pathology. And it hurts just as bad as it looks. All of this requires advanced dental treatment, like root canals. I'm sure some people in the audience have had root canals. restorative therapy, fillings of the like, and advanced periodontal surgery, which this is my first on a tiger. It's happening to all species in captivity. Too many for me to take pictures of. And it's happening across the globe. This is a very conservative map of all the zoos and sanctuaries in the United States. If we highlight Indiana alone, where we were just last week treating tigers at Black Pine Sanctuary, where we will be next week back at EFRC with over 200 tigers. If we extrapolate that data across the United States, we see that the animals in captivity are tremendous, and their need for dental care is staggering. There are only 3,000 tigers estimated left in the wild, with over 10,000 in captivity. Only a very small portion of those are in zoos and sanctuaries finding an adequate home. The rest are found in traveling circuses, roadside attractions, and private ownership, in environments that can be best described as deplorable. With 14 missions underneath my belt, soon to be 15, I can tell you with great assurity that we are the problem. We have created this epidemic, and we need to be the solution. I love this quote by Jane Goodall. It basically says that you cannot be blind to the fact that you have an impact on this world. You just need to decide on what type of impact that becomes. For me, that could be big or it could be small. It does not matter. I just want it to be positive, because that has a ripple effect. One thing that you can do is you can give us your time. You can join us on a mission. I promise you that if you make a physical connection to the animals that we treat and the problems that we face, you will want to make a change. I would also urge you to volunteer at your local SPCA, animal shelter, or sanctuary if you have one close. These are my animal activists. This is my wife, who is also part of the foundation, and my children, Autumn and Quentin. And I have a little one that can't do this right now, but they volunteer at TGR Exotics in Spring, Texas, every chance they get. They learn about animal husbandry. They learn about the close hand, the time, the effort, and the sacrifice it takes to create a home for a rescued animal. I would also urge you to put your phone down and explore your world. Stand in the awe of nature. If there are pessimists out there, and I hope there are none, it may be the last time you see it. And I hope for the most part that we have optimists in the audience. Because if you touch something or stand next to or be with something greater than who or what you are, that is a life-changing experience, and it cannot be taken away from you. Lastly, we can learn so much from the animals that we hold captive, and animals in general, so much more than they can learn from us. This is Shere Khan, Baloo, and Leo, affectionately called BLT. There are 3 cubs found chained in a basement of a drug warehouse. They were confiscated by Fish and Game. They were then transported to Noah's Ark Sanctuary in Locust Grove, Georgia. They were quarantined because they were riddled with parasites, malnourished and abused. Again, very common story. Baloo had a harness so tight on his skin that it had to be surgically removed because skin and hair had grown over it. In quarantine, their conditions worsened. So against better judgment, these are 3 different species from 3 different continents. They're not meant to be together. But against better judgment, Noah's Ark decided to put them back together, hoping upon all hope that that would do something. This is BLT today. 3 different species from 3 different continents born into suffering and needing each other to survive and finding some modicum of peace and freedom, something that was taken away. If that is not a metaphor for our current society and how we move forward as a species, the only way to survive, I don't know what is. I really don't. Because maybe, just maybe, together, we can change this world. Thank you.